Today we're going to rank all 32 evolutions from the very worst all the way to the very best. We have some big changes today. At number 32, keeping its place as the worst evolution in the game, we have the Evolved Goblin Drill. I feel like it'll be even a lot weaker now because it already gets countered by what normal Drill gets countered by, but now with the Evolved Witch being popular, I think a lot more people will run splash cards like Valkyrie. At number 31 is the Evolved Wizard. I feel like the Evolved Wizard really is not a bad card, it's just that there's better 5 Elixir evolution options like, you know, the Executioner, the Witch, there's just so many different things you can run. People always seem to disagree with me on the Dark Goblin, but I think the Dark Goblin is the 30th best evolution in the game. Now, it's a great evolution if your opponent can't kill it, but you can always kill it with pretty much any deck if you're gonna play at least decently smart, and in every single Dark Goblin deck, there's always a better evolution, pretty much. Despite the recent buff, guys, we have Evolved Pekka taking number 29. The reason why I decided to put it at number 29 is because, yes, it's a bit better from the buff, it's better against small swarmish cards, but the Witch is in the meta now because of the evolution, so they just killed Pekka even though they were trying to buff it overall this season. Moving on to number 28, guys, we have the Evolved Electro Dragon. I feel like it's kind of the same story as the Dark Goblin to where it can get a crazy amount of value and it can be one of the best evos in the game, but smart players will not just feed into an evo E-Drag. They'll try to make double lane pushes or have like a lightning ready before they push into it, so E-Drag itself also is just not really the best, and that makes the evolution not very popular. The number 27 spot has to go to the Firecracker because, unfortunately, Hog Earthquake has fallen off quite a bit. The main reason why is because the Boss Bandit just hard counters a lot of the good Hog Earthquake decks, and you could put Hog Earthquake with the Boss Bandit, but then you just kind of lack air defense, so I feel like the Firecracker doesn't really have that much of a place these days. The number 26 spot does belong to the Evolved Goblin Giant. I think the Evolved Goblin Giant is pretty good, but it got quite a big nerf to the spawn rate of its goblins that it spawns when it's below half HP, and a lot of cards that combo well with it like Rage got nerfed, so it just has fallen off a little bit. Now this one might be a bit crazy to say, but at number 25 we have the Evolved Mortar. I would say last season Evolved Mortar would probably be in like the top 20 at least, but I feel like with the Evolved Witch, a lot of the Evolved Mortar decks are really going to suffer because they mostly have no big spell, and if you have no big spell like a Lightning against Witch, I think you're really going to struggle. At number 24 is the Evolved Battle Ram. It's honestly pretty decent. There have been a bit more of these bridge spam Battle Ram decks popping up in the meta, but it's not super crazy or anything. Sometimes you get some crazy plays done with it, and it can kind of kill cheap swarms and things like that, but if you're able to get like an Ice Spirit down on it, then you can still go for your Skarmy right onto it, and it won't die to the Battle Ram. Now, at number 23, we have the Evolved Barbarians. This honestly might be a bit too high of a rating for them because I just assume there's going to be a crazy amount of splash going around to counter stuff like Barbarians, but they are pretty good in bridge spam. Some Lava Hound players have been playing them as well recently just to counter boss bandits and stuff like that, so they're not half bad. They get the job done and they can counter ground cards very well. To be honest, for this one, I have no idea where to rate it compared to most of the others, but moving on to number 22, guys, we have the Evolved Skeletons. You can let me know what you think about them, but I think they're not very good right now. I mean, they're the type of evolution that no deck really wants to run, but if the deck has no other good evolutions to fit into it, then people will run the Evo Skeletons. But besides that, like, no decks really run it if they have better options. At number 21, we have the Evolved Recruits, which have fallen down a few spots. I think the meta is going to be not really suited for them. Last meta was pretty good for them because there was just a lot of Boss Bandit, which they countered pretty nicely, but now with the influx of 5 Elixir splash damage cards, I think Recruits are definitely going to suffer because of that. Right on the dot at number 20 is the Evolved Musketeer. I think the Evo Musketeer is still a really good evolution, but Musketeer itself is just not that popular, and it feels like it might not really have the DPS anymore to take out some of the popular glass cannons, so I'm not sure how well it'll actually perform in this meta, but it still does something. Oh boy, at number 19, guys, we have the Evolved Tesla. People were kind of saying, like, what am I talking about when I said that it's going to be better after the buff, but it really seems like people have started to use it, guys. It's really, really good in Xbow right now, and Xbow is one of the better decks in the game. Just that initial spawn-in wave does more damage now, and now with the Evolved Cannon nerf, I feel like that's going to give a lot more space for Tesla to be a good building option, especially to counter air decks like Lava Hound, which have been kind of just running rampant as of recently. Now for number 18, guys, we have the Evolved Snowball. Evolved Snowball is actually making quite a big appearance in some of these Ram Rider bridge spam decks with Boss Bandit, and they just have Executioner with no Tornado in there. The Evo Snowball really helps to push back big stuff like Golems to allow your Executioner to kill it, and also in Goblin Drill decks, of course, if you Evolved Snowball, you know, you can throw away the Valkyries, Dark Princes, everything like that, more so than any other spell in the game can do. I think it's pretty good. It's not used in a crazy amount of decks, it's not super versatile, but in the decks it's used in, it is really strong. At the number 17 spot is Evolved Lumberjack. I think it's really good in the right situation, but the majority of the decks have some sort of like cheap 1 elixir card to pull it back. However, when they don't have that cheap card to kite back the ghost, then it just gets way too much value. Basically, right in the middle at number 16 is the Evolved Bomber. I'm honestly pretty shocked that I ranked it this low, because I always felt like it would forever be a broken evolution, but it's just not really that popular in this meta, because a lot of the Bomber decks these days like to have Evo Cannon, Evo Ice Spirit for a stronger defense to counter a lot of those pressure decks, and Evolved Bomber kind of just doesn't allow your defense to be where you want it to be. I decided to put the Evolved Mega Knight at number 15. I think the Evolved Mega Knight is very good. Mega Knight itself sucks right now, but the Evo Mega Knight's very good, so, you know, this tier list I'm sometimes going to rank Evos high even if they're not good in the meta, just because the evolution itself really does improve the card drastically, and that's what Evolved Mega Knight does. It is also not that bad against Witch, but I noticed the Evo Witch can sometimes keep spawning a lot of skeletons and actually out-heal the Mega Knight's damage somehow. Okay, the Evolved Royal Giant at number 14, guys, it's so incredibly annoying. It seems like recently people start to just pair it with a lot of the new meta cards, and what do you know, we have another broken season of RG after it being broken for like a year straight. The knockback is so much better than most casual players realize, I feel like, because pros kind of recognize it can be really strong, but it seems like casuals don't really realize that. Why it's so good, guys, is not because it does a lot of damage with that knockback, but because it can just reset the troop's attack animation. So if you play a knight onto it and it's shooting the tower, your knight basically hits it half as often as it otherwise would, and it gets so much more damage. Making our way to number 13, we have the Evolved Hunter. I genuinely think we have to delete this evolution from the game, guys. It's so broken in RG. It's been making an appearance in some random decks, like, I even saw a couple Recruits players use it, and some other random weird decks, kind of more so off-meta decks. But, guys, the Evolved Hunter, I think it needs a rework to where it kind of snares troops like a Ramrider so they can't move, but they can still attack. Let me know what you guys think about that. For the number 12 spot, we have the Evolved Goblin Cage. I'm kind of wondering if the Goblin Cage might fall off a little bit with the new Goblin Hut rework, because that could replace it in maybe a few decks, but I don't think Goblin Hut's going to be super meta. It's just viable, I think, but not super meta. The Evolved Cage, though, guys, it just pulls in stuff and doesn't let it out. So it could counter anything in the game that's not an air troop, and you get automatic value with the Goblin Brawler, which gets more HP when it's evolved. You can't really go wrong with this Evo. Making a huge jump all the way to number 11, we have the Evolved Archers. Xbow's just incredibly broken right now, and 90% of the reason is because Evo Archers just shred any sort of tank you try to play to counter the Xbow. And also they're so good in Elixir Golem, which is probably going to become more popular this meta, I can assume, unless people just start to try to hard counter it. But they just seem really solid, guys, and you get to them quite often throughout the game because Archers are a really easy card to cycle. And yes, the Evolved Archers do die to arrows, but you can always split them, so you can pretty much always find a way to get value. I would definitely recommend investing in this evolution because I don't think it will get a nerf or anything like that either. Right at number 10, guys, another great evolution to invest into, we have the Evolved Knight. The Evolved Knight is not really super popular in Cycle decks. I feel like some of the Cycle decks that have Knight don't even use the Evolved Knight, but it's really good to use in mostly beatdown decks just to allow your push to survive for way longer and just force your opponent into an awkward spot when you get all of your stuff down. You get like a tank on one side, you get an Evo Knight on the other side, then you make like some split lane pushes. You just have like so much tankage for all the towers. Taking the number 9 spot is the Evolved Executioner. I actually saw that the best Hog Executioner player did super well last season compared to what he normally does, because the Evolved Executioner just kind of covers the weakness of a lot of Executioner decks, which is DPS, that a lot of them don't have. And I think in this meta in particular, it's just going to be so insane to counter all the Swarm decks that I'm 100% sure will be going crazy. Oh man, at number 8 are the Evolved Bats. They just nibble way too much. I don't like this evolution, guys. The bats, yeah, they nibble constantly. They heal so quickly. They can even sometimes out-heal stuff like poison, it feels like, and most Cycle decks just can't deal with them because they always have logs. They have to simply like poison them or fireball them. They get so much value, but on the contrary, sometimes against beatdown decks they get no value, so it's a bit of a hit or miss evolution, but it's very versatile and all. Hear me out, guys. We have Evolved Wallbreakers at number 7. I think they're absolutely broken. Last season, they were just used absolutely everywhere, guys. They're so hard to stop. Really, the only effective way to stop them is to go for like a Spirit and a Log or a Cannon. And that's 2 negative trades to play against them, and that's given that you have a perfect cycle. If you don't have a good cycle, you're most likely going to have to spend like 10 elixir to stop them, and you still might not counter them. Also, they're so good on defense because you can play them and they will kill a full-on Mother Witch and have the little 2 babies surviving and going towards the tower. They are very underrated right now. The number 6 best evolution in the game is the Evolved Zap. I think it's another very good evolution to invest into because I don't really see it ever getting nerfed because I don't know how they could nerf it. Maybe they could take away like the second stun effect of the second zap or something like that. I'm not even sure, but yeah, it's really good in beatdown decks, really good in Lava Hound, really good in Giant. It's not used in too much else, but kind of just random decks here and there like Balloon and stuff like that. And it just gets the job done. It's very simple. Breaking into the top 5 for the very first time is the Evolved Valkyrie. The Evolved Valkyrie, guys, is so good in Logbait decks, it seems like, because a lot of these Logbait spam decks like to play so aggressive and they just get completely bailed out by the Evo Valkyrie because it can, fully counter a Golem Night Witch push. It can counter really anything you throw at it, man. It's just so good for killing Night Witch bats and Witch skeletons and countering graveyards. It can basically do it all. It's so menacing to see an Evo Valkyrie walk up towards the lane. And also, if you have an Evo Valkyrie in your push, then it will usually kind of swing that axe around and pull the glass cannons that your opponent plays like musketeers and stuff into your push, so those things just die. Despite the nerf that it got, guys, I decided to put Evolved Cannon at number 4. It got a nerf to where the radius of its barrages are a bit smaller now, but I don't feel like that'll make a super big difference, because especially good players will still know how to accurately hit units with the barrages, and I think it'll still be popular. It's very good for DPSing stuff down, like Hunters and Witches and, Musketeers can kill Evo Archers. There's a lot of good things going for Evo Cannon, and I don't see it really being played much less. Surprisingly, making its way into the top 3 is the Evolved Ice Spirit. I thought after that one nerf Evolved Ice Spirit got to where it's 2 waves instead of 3, I thought it would just fall off, but it just keeps proving to be so strong because the meta just keeps on getting more and more aggressive, it feels like, and Evolved Ice Spirit is just the perfect counter to all those aggressive decks. The number 2 best evolution in the game is the Evolved Goblin Barrel. I think it's a very safe evolution to invest into because I kind of doubt it will get a nerf, and it really just changes the game for Logbait being able to apply that huge double lane pressure. And I feel like it's a very good evolution to just play if you want to kind of play good defense and not really have to worry that much about breaking through, because with some decks you have to spend so long to try to get a single lock on their tower with like Xbow, but with Goblin Barrel you can kind of just like defend those boss bandits, those witches, everything like that, and you just have to Goblin Barrel for only 3 elixir to get basically free damage, especially with the evolution. The number 1 best evolution in the game, I believe, is the Evolved Witch, guys. It literally heals when you poison it. It's so good with Graveyard because when the Graveyard skeletons die, the Witch heals from that. It is game breaking, it is broken. You guys can get it if you want to abuse a broken thing, but be aware it will probably get nerfed again soon. Anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!